changed things and it looks a little different. But we are live on YouTube.
Right. Good evening and welcome to the December 11th, 2024 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Page.
Here.
Councilmember Belanca.
Here.
Councilmember Barley.
Here.
Councilmember Stafford.
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin with the silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the minutes from the November 13th, 2024 Town Board meeting.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page.
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley.
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion. Resolution number 359, 2024, to adopt a cyclical reassessment plan for the towns of Henrietta and Rush as part of a coordinated assessment program.
Second. So we're doing this one initially because the town's assessor for Henrietta is also the town assessor for Rush. They have a meeting tonight as well, so she has to be at both meetings. So we're going to put this one first on the agenda. In the past, the town of Henrietta has always tried to stay at 100% level of assessment. With the double-digit increases in house values every year, that has become an impossible task. So we are adopting a cyclical reassessment plan, which basically says instead of reassessing every year, we will reassess on a cycle, in this case, a 4-year cycle. And then basically what happens is in between any new houses, it's not what they sell at, it's what that house would be valued back whenever the last full assessment. And Amy, feel free to correct me if I state any of this stuff wrong. But the idea is, you know, there was some folks that asked the discussion, well, what if you did a quarter of the town each year? The problem is, you know, when that's a 1 or 2% growth rate, you can do that. When it's an 11 to 13% growth rate, that's unfair to the people who were just reassessed, right? Because now their houses are being assessed at essentially 10 to 15% more than the rest of the town. So what that means, one of the reasons we try to keep everything at a full valuation is if you don't have 100% level of assessment, then there is there's basically like this year, I think we were at 92%. So there's an 8% increase in any of our tax rates and an 8% reduction in any of your exemptions. So we always try to avoid that. But like I said, it's just become impossible with these crazy real estate markets. We don't know how long it's going to take. Hopefully some point it'll slow down. Amy, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Just that the other reason that we're doing this is to comply with New York State has some guidelines for towns if they follow these guidelines for their reassessments, they are eligible for state aid. So one of the steps to be eligible for state aid is to have one of these plans in place. That is my plan for next year's reassessment, is to take advantage of that state aid and follow all of the guidelines for the full townwide reval. How much the reimbursement will be is dependent on how many municipalities in the state decide to reassess and how much money the state makes available for those reimbursements. So it's flexible. We don't know how much exactly it's going to be, but it will be something to help offset the costs of the project.
So it's a way to save taxpayer money, local taxpayer money, because it would come from the state instead. But again, it's a portion of the cost. It's not the entire cost.
Correct.
Any other questions? Do we have any questions, comments from the town board? Any questions from the public? Including online? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. And we'll also do two of the recognition resolutions so that those individuals don't have to sit through the entire public hearings. So first up, we have resolution 24. Let me start over. Fellow board members, I have resolution 24-360, 2024. Whereas Ellen Glenna began working for the Henrietta Public Library in September of 2003 and served the town's residents, especially its teens, for 21 years. And whereas Ellen has provided the thousands of teens who have walked through the doors of the Henrietta Public Library. My machine just decided to kick out.
Mine does that quite often too.
Um,
You want mine?
yeah, thank you. I guess if I could get the paper version, that won't kick out. Whereas Ellen has provided the thousands of teens who have walked through the doors of Henrietta Public Library with dedicated and compassionate services. And whereas Ellen's dedication to community service was unwavering, illustrated through her participation in the Henrietta Youth Advisory Board and countless library outreach events. And whereas Ellen has managed the ever-evolving scheduling needs of the library's reference staff, duties that increased mightily after the move to our new library facility. And whereas Ellen has served as a most dependable and savvy reference librarian, answering innumerable questions from the public over the course of more than 2 decades. Therefore, be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board, Henrietta Library Board of Trustees, and her colleagues thanks Ellen Glenna for her decades of first-rate steadfast service to the community.
Second.
I'll let, are you the liaison, Joe?
I am.
I'll let you take the lead on the comments.
Ellen, first of all, thank you so much for the work that you've done at the library. I've gotten a chance, obviously, to work with you there and also on the youth board. I am always so impressed at how organized you are when you present for us, and just the listing of things that you tell us at youth board meetings about what's going on at the library that you're responsible for coordinating is truly remarkable. So thank you so much for the service you provided us.
And I hope you continue to smile as much as you do in retirement as well.
And that you won't be a stranger and come visit the library a lot, especially when there's nice events going on.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
We will have a certificate, but I'm gonna call the roll before we hand it to you. Otherwise, I often forget to call the roll afterwards. So any other comments, including if you'd like to say anything, you're welcome to it. Or if Adrian wishes to chime in. You got to come up to the microphone though. Yeah.
I am Adrienne Pettinelli, the library director. So I've known Ellen long before I came to Henrietta. I mean, it's got to be about 25 years, I think, when we both were working in children's services, like back in the day. So it's bittersweet to have retirements, but I'm so excited for her. She's done a lot of service, not just for Henrietta, but for the larger library community. She was involved in a lot of system-wide things through the years. She helped me when I was a new librarian. So it's always exciting to see people retire, but also, sad. But it's oh, I don't know. It's a good day.
Thank you. Little verklempt. All right. Hearing and seeing no further comments, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. You want a photograph with the receiving the?
One of those.
I'll let like she's already ready to handle it.
Craig's in the background. You can get in the picture with it if you want. Yeah. Do you want on your camera? I can take it.
Sure. Come on, Joe. I think it's desktop photos. Okay. I got it.
I'll text it to her. Thank you, Steve.
So a Yankees fan player, and you wanna ask if there are any Mets around?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 24-361, 2024. Whereas Martha Zornville has been a dedicated volunteer who has been an intricate part of the Tinker Homestead and Farm Museum for 30 years. And whereas a resident of Henrietta, Martha first volunteered at Tinker Homestead and Farm Museum in 1994, playing a key role in the original inventory, accession, and documentation of their collection. And whereas Martha continued to serve as a descent and tour guide, sharing her knowledge of local history with visitors of all ages. And whereas the town of Henrietta is deeply grateful for Martha's 30 years of service and dedication as her contributions have helped shape Tinker Homestead and Farm Museum into what it is today, and her commitment to their mission and continue to inspire all of us. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Henrietta recognizes this incredible 30 years milestone and thanks Martha for her outstanding work and dedicated service.
Seconded.
So I'd love to thank Martha for being a docent and for and tour guide. It's interesting. We get a lot of great comments about Tinker, the museum, the farm, the homestead, the whole everything. And a lot of people say, "Oh, it must be nice having a county park in your system." It's not a county park; it's a town park. It's run by a staff of individuals, including our town historian who's here today. It's just an amazing facility, and just look back on what life was like in the early days of Henrietta. So just like I said, a great piece to have, and it's great to have people willing to volunteer their time and share the stories of that homestead and what that life was like, as well as what's in the collection, because there's some amazing pieces in the collection. So huge thanks to Martha. Anyone else?
Thanks, Martha. Great job. 30 years. That's a long time of service. We appreciate you.
And I know she understands she couldn't be here tonight. Yeah. Did you want to add anything, or Tina, or are you all set? You don't have to. Okay.
Tina Thompson, Town Historian. I would like to just emphasize, as you have done, how important the volunteers are. And Martha was one of the original docents and volunteers who worked at the Tinker Homestead when that first became a museum for the town. And we are very, very grateful for her 30 years of service. And we will miss her and the wisdom and the history that she has given to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to grab that
Yeah.
certificate
That'd be great.
and make sure that she gets it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tina.
Tell her we hope she can stop in and visit now and then. And she won't have to give anyone a tour. All right, any other comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Okay, so those are the three we'll do up front, and now we will return to the normal order of operation and go to our public hearings. So our first public hearing is for special use permit, application number 2024-041, Healing Hands Spa LLC, 40 Wildbriar Road, Suite 400, to operate a spa offering acupressure, cupping, aromatherapy, cranial massages, reflexology, and hot stone therapy. Do we have a representative from this application present? You can come up and speak.
So this is Leah. She's actually the one that's on the ownership, but I'm gonna help her a little bit with a comprehension. Is there any questions or anything that she?
Do you want to just give us a little bit of an overview of the project and what you're looking to do?
Yeah, so she's worked very hard to get acclimated in that industry, learn what she could. She's gone to school, done her online certifications, and then went to Cincinnati, Ohio, and got her practicals done. And then that whole idea was to open a place that was a clean and well-run operation in light of the places that she's worked in the past that wasn't quite so well-run in that field. So she wants to do something different and with the idea of trying to be an entrepreneur. She's got her green card. She is advocating to get her children here and put one boy through an engineering RIT. He's engineering 1 year in her country. So to do that, she knows she has to be an entrepreneur or do something and, to make that kind of money to pay. But she wants him to go to a good school in America. And that was really what drove a lot of this. So, right?
Yes. Sir, could you state your name? And
Yeah.
I don't know if I heard it.
In relation to the project?
Yeah. So I'm Terry Downey. I'm a general manager at Rochester 100, and me and Leah are partners.
Okay.
I'm not affiliated actually with a company. She's the only one that's part of the LLC.
Okay.
I'm just trying to guide her and help her navigate the system because she does understand English, but when she gets nervous, the comprehension goes way down. So
No problem.
you believe me, I've tried to coach her a lot what to say, but she's very, very nervous.
Well, I often
Understood.
thought about if I was in a different country, had to speak their language, how difficult it would be. So I understand.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet. Yeah.
Mhm.
I try to put myself in that shoes many times.
Mhm.
Yeah. But she's tried to do everything right, for every dot every I and cross every T. And we've worked on an employee handbook. She's gonna make everybody wear uniforms and really try to have a first-rate operation.
Great.
Is it Terry?
Terry, yeah, with a Y.
Has she worked anywhere else
Yeah.
before starting this?
Yeah,
Where was that?
so she's been in country 5 years and 6 years, sorry, 6 years. And she's worked in Pennsylvania in two different places in Pennsylvania in this industry. She didn't like what she saw, So she moved on and eventually migrated to Rochester and worked at a couple places here. And again, the you know, the environment was, there's good and bad, I guess.
Understood.
And yeah, so she's learned a lot, and she knew that getting certified in different disciplines was very important, because a lot of them do not do that. They learn from somebody else, but they don't actually take the time and spend the money and go to school. So that's what she's been doing for the last 3 years.
Thanks for the explanation.
Terry, also, just to be helpful, our building and fire prevention leadership has reviewed the application, and there's some things that they require prior to any alterations or even signage put up. So
Yeah.
if you're successful with this special use permit, I don't know if she's aware of what's been written from
Yeah,
the building. You have that?
Yeah. So,
Okay, I just want to make sure.
yeah, so I read everything to her and we've gone over it, and I've actually translated it to in her language.
Thank you.
And she knows that inspections have to be done, and I do that at our factory. So I was telling her about, you know, the exit doors have to be clear and marked, and, you know, all kinds of things have to be done in that route, but we have to get an inspection done, yeah.
Well, there's a building permits, there's signage, all that has to be approved by the building.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will say that we've had some problems with massage therapy properties, so it'd be nice to have one that's well-run and fully above board, because
Yeah.
some of them have some shady practices, shall we say.
Yeah.
Most of the other information's in here. I don't see a whole lot. Do you know what else is in that business off the top of your head? I know we
Yeah.
discussed it Monday, but I can't remember.
Well, yeah, here's the owner.
Yes,
I'm Laura Mullen. I'm the owner. of
could
the
you come up to the microphone? We need it for minutes.
I'm Laura Mullen. I'm the owner of the building, and I'm a lawyer, and my law firm is there.
Okay.
And then there's 3 other office suites, and all 3 of them are empty. So this would be, we just bought the building like 3 years ago. We've remodeled it. And this would be our first tenant.
Great.
I went by the building today. It looks very, it
Thanks.
looks real nice. I pulled in the parking lot.
Come inside. It's even nicer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could tell somebody did a lot of work and.
Yeah, we did a lot of work. Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't have any more questions. I don't know if any other board members do. Like I said, a lot of it's covered. It's like I said, as Mike said, I think you guys did a good job getting this cleaned up and ready to go.
Not that I have any ideas, but does any restrictions or anything else that we want to put in there in case something does go wrong?
If we had any kind of restriction, and again, this isn't a reflection of you, this is a reflection of some of the other
Yes.
operators of massage parlors, is that, you know, that you would have to follow all laws regarding massage parlors, licensure. You know, a lot of places, they'll have other people in there doing work that requires a license who are unlicensed. So, you know, make sure that anyone working there in a role that requires a license has a license. And then obviously make sure all that the practices being done are legal practices. That's a problem we have, like I said, at some of these parlors. And it sounds like you may have experienced some of that in your previous employment, that some of these places aren't always above board. So.
Yeah, another thing they do is they hire a lot of illegal, you know, not to say anything wrong against immigration. I'm
Right.
an immigrant, but they hire people that aren't legally here.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
she's paid over $12,000 in lawyer's fees to get her green card and be legal. And
Right.
she's doing she wants to be a US citizen. So she's trying to do everything possible the right way.
No, that's
But
great.
yet they hire people that just, I don't know where they come from, but they have no, you know, real legal permission to be here, and she's not gonna do that. No way.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's great.
Terry, does she plan on having employees?
Yeah, 3 to 4.
Okay.
I mean, 1 to start,
Right.
you know, well, you got to build the business first. So it'll be
Right.
her, and she has an old dear friend that's been in the business a long
Could
time.
you move a little
Okay.
closer to the microphone just in case? Yeah.
Yeah, so she has an old dear friend that she wants to have come help her just to
Uh-huh.
get started,
Right.
and then I'll just take it step by step by step.
Okay.
Luckily, Laura supplied a beautiful facility that, and it's affordable, so she doesn't have to go gangbusters right off the bat to make, you
That's
know,
great.
to make ends meet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? I'm going to open it up to the public. Is there anyone who wishes to make a comment on this application? Anything online? All right. I'll make the resolute.
Okay, I thought
I'll
Pat-
I'll put forth on that. Hearing no further comment, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2024-041, Healing Hands Spa LLC. Let me finish writing it out. Now, one of the things, just so you're aware, why we put the extra condition on there, whereas all this stuff is covered under other laws,
Yeah,
if it's in the special use permit, it makes it easier for us to deal with.
yeah, sure.
You know, like I said, again, I don't expect it's her, but the other thing we also have to cover, a special use permit actually stays with the building. So let's say she decides to stop operating or move somewhere else, and you bring in another spa, they don't have to come back here. They can just open up in that suite because it already has a special use permit. So a lot of times we put these things on here because whereas we might feel confident about the applicant, we also have to cover ourselves for future businesses. So
Yeah, sure.
with that said, fellow board members, I motion that we approve special use permit application number 2024-041 to Healing Hands Spa LLC, 40 Wild Briars Road, Suite 400, to operate a spa offering acupressure, cupping, aromatherapy, cranial massages, reflexology, and hot stone therapy, with the condition that any licensed activity be performed by licensed individuals and only legal activities take place on site.
Second.
Any further comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. In some, after operating for a while, if you need something from like a letter from the town talking about the business or verifying, for your application for citizenship, don't hesitate to reach out to the town. The clerks can give you the certification that shows this approval as special use permit and stuff like that.
Oh,
But,
good.
we're happy to help our residents.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
And
Town
thank you for
Henrietta's
choosing
great.
Henrietta.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Next up, we have special use permit application number 2024-042, Fresh and Fast Restaurant, 1557 East Henrietta Road, to operate a restaurant with sit-down and takeout meal service, outdoor seating, and the sale of alcohol. Go ahead and introduce yourself, your relationship to the project, and give us a brief description of the project.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Reza Armanish. I'm the architect for this project. Mr. Zaka Ansari is the owner, business owner for the project. Basically, the space is located at 1557 East Henrietta Road. There's 2 other businesses already there. This is right next to the smoke shop. There's 2-story. So it's going to be a restaurant. Basically, it's going to be a Mediterranean type restaurant. with special barbecue type Mediterranean type barbecue chickens and other food that they're going to provide. The space itself, the net, I'm just referring to the net area is 2,421 square foot. The front, as you see, as you come in, the area where the public would sit, and then also they're gonna have counters with some benches, so if somebody wants to grab something fast and eat and go, then they can. There is two 12-foot type 1 hood that we are proposing to basically prepare the food, cook the food, walk-in freezer, walk-in refrigerator, and of course, we gotta have the hand sink, vegetable sink, tree base sink, mop sink, and the grease interceptor that is gonna be buried below the slab. There is a one accessible toilet for wheelchair accessible toilet. There's a small office area and a small mechanical room. Also, the second floor for time being is going to be part of the restaurant, but it's not going to be used as a, they're going to use it as a storage, offices. But when we discussed the issue with the fire marshal, he requested that we also provide a fire alarm system up on the second floor. So in case if there's smoke, CO, carbon monoxide, something so we can be detected, so people can run downstairs. There's a pole station by that door exiting from the second floor. The second floor right now doesn't have it only has one access. The stairs that basically from the front. If it's going to be fully used, at some point, they will provide some kind of second means of egress, most likely is stairs coming from the back, and then people can get out at the back area. The hours of operation, basically, they want to stay open 7 days a week, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on other than Friday and Saturday. They like to open from 11 a.m. to 1 or 2 p.m. and then a.m. I'm sorry. Yes, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the Friday and Saturdays. Those are usually the days that are busier for this type of business. Number of employees, they're going to have 6 employees. There's 2 shifts, so there's 3 to 4 employees per shift. And the signage there's a signage there already that used to be, this place used to be used as a dry cleaning. There's a big 18-foot, I cannot get to it, but I can just eyeball the dimensions. It's about 18-foot wide. It's a box that sits at the front. So that's going to remain, but the text that is shown there is going to change to Fresh and Fast Restaurant, which that's what, and then Mr. Ansari will provide he's going to propose a signage, go through the building department, make sure that it's according to the zoning code, the signage is according to zoning code, and most likely it's going to be internally lit. But we'll discuss that issue with the building department. If there's any other requirement, we will follow. That's pretty much in a nutshell. If you have any comments, questions?
I have a couple. Under the current layout, there's equipment under the stairs. Is that like mechanical, HVAC? What is that?
Right now, in the old days, there was some kind of a panel there, but right now, we're going to use it under the stairs. We are fireproofing under the stairs, and also there's separation. There's a stairs comes up, landing, and go up. So under there is going to be like a mop room, a janitor room, I call it. It's just going to be like maybe mop buckets. So we are not putting any equipment under there.
Okay, and is that accessible through the bathroom? Because it doesn't show how that's accessible.
Just putting a special door.
Oh, from there, okay. Yeah, so that's been updated. So the seating's a little shorter.
Yeah.
The space immediately on the other side of the bathroom from the stairs, It's 7x8. What is that?
That's in a little office that they can, I guess, count the money.
I'm just, the only reason I'm asking that is, should it turn out with, so it looks, what do we got? 16, 22 seats. If it turns out that that one restroom isn't sufficient,
We will change the second one to the, I'm well familiar, actually, we just finished the 600 Jefferson Road. It passed with one, then one toilet for each, then we changed it. I talked to the owner. So, and then, as long as they, it's 70, I guess it's 50 for women, 75 for men per restaurant. And then, so we are not even,
you're not in that threshold, okay?
we are not even close to it. But if need be, let's say they do good business and they want to add more seats,
Right.
then that office has to change to and it is big enough for accessible toilet, one for women, one for men.
All right, great. And it looks like so the second story was, there's no inside access to it. Is that
The
correct?
only access to it is right now from the outside.
Side, yeah.
Now, one way to provide an access, right as you go in from the main door, on the left, I can put a door that there's a landing at the bottom
Well,
landing.
I don't feel a need to put one in there, but I was just
No.
surprising. So basically, that's why it's not super useful other than as storage, yeah.
Yeah, storage, maybe offices, I don't know.
Right,
That's what right now, that's where the intent of the use is. If,
Yeah.
let's say there's later, let's say the business goes well and they want to utilize upstairs, then we have to go to the building department and
redo, yeah,
obtain that.
yeah.
Even though on the application, we indicated that there's going to be liquor, but they're not going to serve liquor at all, but it was suggested just put it in. The other issue was that, it was suggested that if they want to put outside seating with some like planter and a umbrella with some chairs during the good weather, that they could. So we indicated that we applying for that as well.
Yeah, the problem with that one is without seeing a plan, I don't know,
Right.
because from being familiar with that parking lot, I'm not sure how you would do that. So I
Yes.
don't know that I would want to approve the outdoor seating without seeing an outdoor seating plan. The
Yes.
liquor is more of an operational thing than a site
Right.
plan thing. So I don't have a problem with that one, but I'm not clear where you would put outdoor seating. You can always come back if you
Yes.
decided to add outdoor seating and you come up with a plan, you can just come back and update. It's in terms of fees, it's half the fee.
Yes, sir.
I believe. My clerk will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's half the cost of the application fee if you're just updating an existing SUP. So like I said, I would recommend that it not include outdoor because
Gotta have safety issues.
yeah,
Right.
there has to be like bollards or something to
Preventing
separate so
the cars.
cars can't accidentally pull into there.
For time being, we are requesting approval for the restaurant. For the first and second floor is going to be all one use. Up and down is going to be one use.
Yeah.
For present time, that's the reason I mentioned that because that was suggested by
Yeah.
No,
someone.
I understand,
and
but like
then-
I said, if you do that, you have to you don't have to build it now, but you have to show where it would go.
Yes, sir.
I'm just being familiar. In fact, I was looking at that, not for another reason. My understanding is that the adjacent business, they would be interested in having you essentially as a takeout service, provide food for that other adjacent business. We were there for that purpose, so that's why I'm familiar with the site and such, and I just don't know where you would put the outdoor seating. Not saying it can't happen, I'm just not familiar where that would go
Right.
safely, so I'd rather when we do this one, for now, if you're okay with that, we
Yes, sir.
won't include the outdoor seating. We'll just include sit-down meal, takeout service, and alcohol.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm gonna just strike outdoor seating for now.
I have a question. On your drawing, I couldn't denote where your grease trap was. Is it indoor under a slab?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
an indoor, it's about 150 gallon,
So, yeah.
Oh, 250 gallon, there's gonna be below a slab. And then once it goes, there's a existing 4-inch drain, where the toilet was, that we are connecting to it. We did the same at 600 Jefferson Road. So it's in the kitchen area. Before we had it in the hallway, then we moved it in the kitchen. So in case if somebody wants to run because of the fire, there's
Oh,
no
here's the updated one.
diamond plate or something that people can
So,
split.
yeah, I like that location better than the one, in the
Yes,
original
we
plan.
changed it.
Yeah,
And for safety purposes, that would be covered. No one's gonna be able to fall in there or anything.
No, sir, there is going to be a diamond plate,
Okay.
slip resistant
right.
cover. Basically, the top has to be flush with the finished floor. Right
Okay.
now, they're planning to do epoxy floor in the
Yeah.
kitchen area. The only place that would get slats is where people sit in the hallway. Like 6-inch tongue and groove slats, waterproof. But the rest of the area, offices, bathroom, the kitchen, mechanical room, we're going to cover it with epoxy flooring.
Thank you.
Sure.
I do have a question, just the address, you know, I went over there and the cleaners is 1555. And everything I'm seeing is 1557. Is there a?
So the building itself, the legal address for the parcel is 1555, if I remember correctly, but it has a mailing address. That business has a mailing address of 1557.
Okay.
It
Is
used
that
to be
correct?
it
Yeah.
used to be one parcel, then it was divided up into 3.
Yeah,
So it was 1555, 1557, and 1559.
yeah,
Okay, I just clarification, because when I'm
yeah, that's,
looking at
Yeah,
it,
on the
I,
GPS, it still shows 1555.
Yeah.
right, okay. And 1567 is actually behind there, a separate building behind there, so, okay. And then I thought the the State Farm building, I thought that was 1555 also, but. Oh. Well,
That's the owner.
if you want to come on up and
Okay.
explain it, yeah, that'd
Okay.
be great. Oops.
Back a couple, I'm sorry, Ignacio Cancelleri. I own the building in the plaza
Right.
around there. Back a couple of years ago, I requested a split of the buildings. So 1559 is now the State Farm building,
okay,
which is owned by me, but it's a land lease from the Genesee Valley.
Regional market.
Yes, but the other two buildings are both owned by me personally. The 1557 is the actual building where the cigar and the restaurant is going to be, and 1555 is the other parcel on the right-hand side. So I split them up purposely so that they would have their own parcels and they're owned by different LLCs,
Gotcha.
which I'm still the owner. but-
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
thank you
you.
for that.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any questions from the public? Or anything online? We're gonna need, if we could get this updated.
Yeah.
Sent to us.
Yes, sir.
You can send it to the clerks, you can drop it off at the clerks, but we'll need an update.
Yes, sir.
Because
We'll email it to
this
us
is
now.
more updated than the one in the application.
Sure.
All right. Does anyone want to make a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to accept and approve special use permit application number 2024-042, Fresh and Fast Restaurant, 1557 East Henrietta Road, to operate a restaurant with sit-down and takeout meal service and the sale of alcohol.
Second. Any further discussion?
Did you see?
He
didn't say
does
alcohol, he
include
skipped it.
alcohol.
Okay,
He's
he
not
skipped
going to get his license, obviously,
yep.
before he could ever sell
No.
alcohol, he'd have to go get it licensed,
Right.
but he did drop the outdoor
Okay,
seating.
thank you.
We skipped that one.
Just want to make sure.
Yep, he did strike that, yep.
Thought I heard.
All right. Any further questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. I forgot to mention it to the last applicant, but If you're interested in doing a ribbon cutting, you can reach out to me, supervisor@henrietta.org. I'm also a member of the Henrietta Chamber of Commerce, and they have all the stuff to do the ribbon cutting and stuff like that. So,
Thank
and then the other thing we do is a lot of times for a new restaurant, we have a chamber board meeting that if we will have it at the, restaurant in Henrietta. So,
It'll be an honor.
especially when it's a new restaurant. So
Thank you.
thank you. Congratulations. Do you need it
Appreciate you
back?
come.
No, sir.
We'll say it.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
Okay.
Next up, we have special use permit application number 2024-043, Play Palace LLC, 2199 East Henrietta Road, to operate an innovative and inclusive play center for children and young adults of all abilities.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that one.
Hi,
Hello.
Hello.
hi. I'm Kristen Bond. I am the owner of Play Palace LLC. And what this is going to be is an inclusive, innovative play center for kids, children of all abilities and ages. It's going to have specialized and adapted equipment, rubber flooring, padded spaces, sensory activities and areas. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
Okay, going through the,
Is that gonna be next to Chef King or where's it gonna be exactly?
It's in the old DMV.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, as soon as I say that, everybody knows exactly what I'm talking about.
did they leave any of the equipment? Can the kids play DMV? Do they have to move like sloths?
No, there's gonna be a big play structure that they can climb and run and everything.
Great.
Just so that everyone is playing together. I know some places have like sensory Sundays or sensory friendly days of the movie or whatnot. This will be sensory friendly 24/7. So that everyone is welcomed and can enjoy it.
Are you doing this business anywhere else right now?
I am not. I am a former special education teacher and administrator of, it was over 20 years. Wanted to go a different direction.
You decided you had enough, huh?
It's getting crazy out there. So, why not play with children all day instead?
Right. Thank you.
And so this is, like it's just come in, but it looks like you also do birthdays, that type of stuff,
Yep.
special events.
You can get like a daily pass. You could get a membership, or if you want to have a birthday party there, we do have space for a party room or any kind of event. There'll be like a little snack bar too there so that, so you don't even have to leave.
So it's gonna be more like vending stuff, because if you're preparing, it actually is considered a restaurant. It's a pre-prepared,
It's like heated up,
yeah, if,
like popcorn.
right, so if they throw it, so like the way I was talking about it, because we had this with this other, so if there's a microwave there and they throw it in or that type of stuff, if it's just served, you're not preparing it, that's fine.
Yeah.
When you're preparing food, it falls under a restaurant.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with preparing food.
Right. Other questions, comments?
It's a great idea.
Thanks.
How many employees you plan on having?
I mean, to begin with, just a handful, but hopefully it'll grow and we'll get, 10, 20, however much. I do want to have, being a special education teacher, we always had like a small student to teacher ratio. So I do still want that.
Okay.
I want staff that are fully trained in different abilities or disabilities. And like behavior management and stuff. So if something was to happen, you have staff there to help out.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So it's like a by the hour or half hour, is it a time slot or?
Right now, I'm just going with daily passes. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think anyone really wants to spend the day there, although I think they should.
Okay.
But
All right. Any other questions from the board? Any other questions from the public? Questions or comments? Or online? Then hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2024-043, Play Palace LLC. I don't know if I actually formally closed the previous one.
I don't know either.
Um,
Mr. Supervisor and
Go ahead.
fellow board members, I vote to approve application 2024-043, Play Palace LLC, 2199 East Main Road, to operate an innovative and inclusive play center for children and young adults of all abilities.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford. Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. And as I mentioned, if you send an email to me, supervisor@henrietta.org, when you're getting close to opening, we can schedule a grand opening.
that sounds great. I will definitely do that.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Did you, and you might have said I didn't put it on my notes. Did you say when you plan on opening?
Hoping for March, April, spring air time.
Thank you.
Spring break.
Sounds great. Next up, we have special use permit application number 2024-045, Rana Asia Mart LLC, 2199 East Henrietta Road, to operate a takeout restaurant within a grocery store. Please introduce yourself, your relationship to the project, and give us some descriptions.
Good afternoon. My name is Reza Armanish. I'm the architect for this project. This project is located in a plaza, but it's facing the East Henrietta Road. It's at 2199, right next to the State Farm Insurance. That's to the north of it. This is just the south, the tenant to the south of that space. The intent is to basically, it's going to be a grocery, but it has a takeout food component. So but actually New York State Building Code requires, as soon as it's commercial, it has to be enclosed. Either I had to enclose the entire with 2 hours, or just do the kitchen area with 2 hours.
Right.
So that's what we did. And
Just to say, for those people who doesn't know, it's a fire rating wall. So the idea is that wall is capable of keeping a fire from penetrating for 2 hours.
right. Also, all the perimeter, the tenant separation walls are already existing, and they're 1 hour. There's a couple of places we drilled holes, so we know this is going to provide 1 hour separation between tenants. The space itself, the net area is 1,500 square foot. The net kitchen area is 294 square foot. Now, if that kitchen area was less than 10%, then I could have, according to the exceptions in the New York State Building Code, then it's an accessory use. I didn't need to, but this is more than 10%, 14 point some percent. So there's no way around it. We have to deal with it as if it's actually a restaurant, A-2 restaurant. The kitchen area itself is, like, as I've mentioned, 294. We have an 8-foot hood. Again, we have a hand sink, vegetable sink, tree-based sink, grease interceptor in the kitchen. There's 2 accessible, 1 men, 1 women toilet rooms. We show 2 booths, just maybe 6 people can sit, 8 people maybe can sit if they want, but it's takeout. It's not a sitting restaurant.
Okay.
And then the grocery, and then also we have a small walk-in cooler and some reach-in coolers, and like vegetable coolers, open vegetable coolers, and shelving and a counter and a cashier at the front. There was one issue with respect. I discussed this with Mr. Kevin Wilson, the director of the building department. Basically, we have the wall. I show the wall on my drawing. They're going all the way to underneath the steel deck and sealed tight. There was some problem that the owner called me, I went there yesterday. So the only thing we are changing, we are putting a 2 hours fire ceiling floor. It's actually, there's no floor up there, but it's a 2 hours. So basically I can still contain the kitchen within that area. The tenant separation in the kitchen area is 2 hours. Everywhere else is 1 hour, but that's what we have proposed. The one other thing that I noticed that when they had opened, there's a duct from this tenant is going to the tenant on the south. So what I did, I revised the drawing indicating, okay, if that duct gonna stay, I need a 2 hour, 1.5 hour fire damper in that duct. And I don't know, I discussed this with the owner, and I don't know how it is that you're heating up the next door. You have to discuss this with the property
Yeah,
owner.
Those details are really more apropos for the building department than for
Yes,
the
sir.
special use permit. But yes, it's great that you are, staying on top of the fire, especially the fire protection, because again, obviously, when I'm in a plaza with mixed use, it's very important to provide that fire safety and fire prevention so that doesn't spread and take out neighboring businesses.
We do have fire alarm systems, sir.
That's great.
We propose the full system fire alarm system for that whole grocery, kitchen, the whole 9 yards.
Sounds good. So it looks like are a couple seats there.
Yes, couple of booths we put right next to the kitchen that in case if somebody wants to sit and eat, they have, that's basically like maybe 8 people, no more than 8 people can
Right,
sit
so I
there.
just want to make sure the sit down is also checked. I realize it's only a couple seats, but yeah, so we should have sit down service there as well.
I need to check if I may. I need to check with the zoning code too. I know in the city of Rochester, if you're 6 people or like 6 chairs, is takeout. As soon as you go to 7 or 8 chairs, then they don't consider it there.
I
I don't know how.
I
Indiana
don't care
does
what
it.
Rochester does for
Right.
us. If you're gonna have people sitting in there,
Right.
it's just check the box that says it's for sit down.
Okay, yes, sir.
As far as what that does from a building code standpoint, again, that's more building departments, but
Yes, sir.
from a special use permit. And are you gonna be selling alcohol
No, right now.
even at the grocery store? I know a lot of convenience stores sell, beer and such. I didn't know.
I'm planning to, but not now.
Right,
like
so
later.
what we should probably do again is check that box now, so you won't have to come back.
Oh,
Obviously you cannot sell it until you get a liquor license.
yeah.
But, from a special use permit.
Okay.
And the reason we have that as a separate box is so, for instance, if this were right next door to a school, for instance, we would want to not have alcohol, right?
Yeah.
But because of where it's located, alcohol is not an issue. So you might as well check it, so that way you don't have to come back if you do ever go pursue your liquor license. In addition, they like to see, when you go for your liquor license, that you have the proper zoning approval for that. So having it checked will make sense. So what we will do is this will have sit down, takeout, and alcohol service. All right?
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions, comments?
No.
Is the grocery store, is it catered to a particular cuisine or, culture? I don't know how you would put it, but it says Asia market. Is it gonna be a bunch of I assume there's gonna be some general foods there, but are there also gonna be products that are specific to a particular
Nepali, right.
cuisine or?
Yeah, mainly Nepali, from my understanding. It's going to be in Nepali, but they have general other
Oh, yeah,
items.
right, I understand. I was just curious because, I know we have a large Asian population in different pockets of Asia as well. And I was
Yes.
just curious, if you go to a regular grocery store, for lack of a better way to put it, sometimes you're limited in, in what you can get,
Yes.
growing up where I grew up, there were a lot of Italian markets, right? That had all kinds of Italian special ingredients, so to speak. But I was just curious. So,
Yeah, mainly Nepali type,
gotcha.
but they will have American products as well.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions, comments?
No. No. Mr.
Any,
Newton.
any questions, comments from the public? Or online? And hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2024-045 Rana Asia Mart LLC.
Thank you.
Wait, you're not done. We still have to pass the resolution.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I make a
We're gonna
motion,
just sit and wait.
I make a motion to approve application 2024-45 Rana Asia Market LLC, 2199 East Henrietta Road, to operate a takeout restaurant with a grocery store, within a grocery store.
With sit down and alcohol as well.
Thank you.
I will second. Any other questions, comments? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca.
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. As we say, if you want to do a grand opening, reach out to me, supervisor@henrietta.org. I don't know that we'll be able to do the chamber meeting in there since you only have 6 seats. But we can certainly help you with a grand opening and ribbon cutting.
Thank you.
You bet.
If
Thank
I
you.
may ask, that was supervisor.henrietta.org.
Supervisor@henrietta.org.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have a public hearing for special use permit application number 2024-046, AAA Auto Glass Incorporated, 1921 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road, to operate an auto glass repair and replacement facility. Do we have a representative here?
Virtually, sir.
Virtual, all right. Please introduce yourself and your relationship to the project and give us a description of the project.
Yes, sir. My name is Brad Harris. I am the Chief Financial Officer for the company and responsible for all leases. The project is at 1921 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road. We intend to operate an auto glass repair and replacement facility through the location. Most of our work is done remotely. We rarely will have any vehicles there at the shop to repair and replace, although we do on occasion have a recalibration related to the auto glass that requires a static controlled environment for us to actually do the recalibration. So we will have some there on occasion, but they will not be left overnight. And in fact, they shouldn't be there more than an hour at any given time. We should have a manager, a salesperson, and a CSR in the office. Rarely will we have a technician on site, but on occasion they may come there for parts. We may also inventory a small inventory of auto glass, tools, adhesives, and moldings that are required to replace auto glass. And our operating hours are going to be generally 7 to 4, Monday through Friday. Very rarely will we have anybody there on a Saturday, but I can't rule it out, of course. So we operate also, just as an FYI, we're in 13 other states or 12 other states, operating brick and mortar similar to this facility in 7 other states. And so we're moving into New York just as an opportunity that we saw in the Western New York markets.
So basically you go to the customer's car, they don't bring the car to this site.
95% of the time, yes.
Okay. And as far as, if someone comes to the site, you only have the one bay, is that correct?
There are two bays there.
Well,
Bay
from the
10 and
drawing, it
11.
looks like the right-hand bay, oh, I guess that's
It's a shared space, but yeah,
Yeah,
there are actually two bays.
Yeah, it was hard to tell the scale initially from the drawing, but then I saw the 44. Yeah, so you'd have enough room to get a car in there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's hard to tell from the drawing what the scale is here. So,
Brad, I got a quick question. You say you plan on operating. Are you already operating? I was by there today and there's signage and
Yeah, we are in the space, and we have done a few repairs and replacements. But before we're really doing any solicitation, we're hoping for the special use permit to be approved so we can move forward.
No questions there?
yeah, what we were asking about, so the question came up during workshop, but in looking at the plan, it doesn't look like it's, there's some drainage issues between, this property and the property to the north. But it doesn't look like it's your buildings. It looks like it's the buildings, assume this is north up. I don't see a north indicator. Craig, would you happen to know? I think you're more familiar with this. Is the image in the map in the application north up? It looks like this particular building is along the eastern property line, and it's the northern property line that we're having the drainage issues. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, for the address?
This is the 2199. I'm
No,
sorry, no, sorry,
2191.
this is the 1921. It's the
Town line.
Lemke property.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, we talked about this on Monday.
Yeah,
So, yes, thank you, sir. Craig Eckert, Deputy Town Supervisor. The drainage issue that's existing is to the south of the Brocolo Automotive and north of the Lemke property. That shared property line is a drainage issue.
okay. Right, but this particular building looks like it's along the eastern.
The eastern side that's where the water is supposed to drain to. The water is getting trapped between those two buildings. It was supposed to drain along the east side. Lemke has cleaned out that ditch as much as possible, but you can't get it to flow uphill. So my understanding is the ditch works, but the water caught behind the two buildings can't get into the ditch. So we have to find another means of egress on that.
Gotcha.
And this location's owned by the same people that own the drainage problem.
That's my understanding, is that Lemke owns, this is all of his
It's all
industrial.
Lemke's property.
Yeah.
Correct, you're just leasing this space, you're not purchasing, that's correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I mean, so is he working on this?
That's
actively?
my understanding. Rick Lemke has been in communication. He's met me in my office. We've talked about the punch list of items that have to be completed. There was a discrepancy as to, the issue itself. I put Mr. Brocolo, the owner of the auto place, in touch with Mr. Lemke. They're both the same type of salt of the earth type of entrepreneurs. I was hoping they were going to work it out. I haven't heard anything yet, but it doesn't mean it hasn't been.
Right, yeah, so we should follow up on that to make sure but yeah, so I'm now looking at it. This is the one building runs parallel to the Cintas.
Yes.
So. Yeah, so, if you could just inform your, landlord that this is we need him to take care of this, to take care of the drainage issue so we don't have the problem.
I'll reach out to Mr. Lemke, sir.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Craig.
Yes, sir, and I'll be sure to mention it to him as well.
Can we make that a condition or no? I mean, if he's gonna take care of it, He's
I would
working on
be
it.
okay-
He's working on it. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the thing is, I'd want to give them some time to get it done. It sounds like AAA is ready to roll right now.
I think AAA is already rolling.
Yeah.
That's my next question. Why did you not know? Why'd you start operating without a special use permit?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said.
Why'd you start operating without a special use permit?
Yeah, when we first spoke with Mr. Limke, we were understanding that it was, the area was approved for this. And so we began before taking the steps, making sure that it was properly zoned and approved for use. When I spoke with Mr. Wilson, trying to obtain a permit letter or a use letter, and realized that we needed to go through this process, he informed me that, of course, it'd be a month and a half before we were able to actually get on the docket for this meeting. And that we should, well, he didn't exactly say to go ahead, but I understood him to say that it would be okay for us to operate lightly, which is what we've done, until the use permit was fully approved.
So the issue is
Not
that,
about anything in-house, though.
so in
We've
the
not had-
industrial
sorry.
zone, there's a clause for other commercial use, which I assume is that what this is under. And the problem is that this particular address has never had the auto glass, that type of repair there. A lot of people assume that because they're all around, A16, that's pretty sure that's the other clause. So it sounds like it was his landlord that got it wrong. We'll have a little sit down with Mr. Lemke. Greg will have a sit
Yeah,
down.
and yes, he did later tell us that we needed to get the use permit to them. Of course, we'd already begun operating. But like I said, we are not operating anything inside the building. We're not bringing anything to the location.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. If they're just using it as office space, it's not until they bring the car there that they probably need the special use permit, interestingly enough. Because
Yes,
just
sir.
office space, that is an allowed use without a special use permit. And as is warehouse storage of their parts. It's only when they bring the vehicle in there to do work that it requires a special use permit, so. Interesting catch by Mr. Wilson. All right, any other questions? Any questions from the public? And hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2024-046, AAA Auto Glass Incorporated. Somebody wish to move?
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I move that we approve special use permit application number 2024-046, AAA Auto Glass Inc., 1921 Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road to operate an auto glass repair and replacement facility.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations. And like I said, we'll have our discussion with your landlord with regards to the drainage issue.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Last up, we have a public hearing for the proposed local law to amend Henrietta Town Code at chapter 273 to limit parking along Nevins Road and clarify no parking zones for paragraph 7 and 8. The clarification ones were the roads that make a 90-degree bend. And they said, like east and north sides, which actually ends up being opposite sides of the road, the original intent, and you can see it through the entire rest of the neighborhood. This is the Staglin area, if I remember correctly. The no parking is where the sidewalk is. And so obviously the sidewalk does not cross the road when it turns 90 degrees. So they just had the wrong side of the street. So we were just clarifying that. last meeting, we put in the no parking along Nevins Road. And again, this is on the east side of Nevins Road where the shoulder is. Because rather than a sidewalk, we did an extended shoulder. And the reason for that is Nevins Road has mailboxes on both sides of the street. All of Henrietta is rural mail delivery, which means the mailboxes are out at this edge of the street. If you put in a sidewalk, the mailboxes have to go in between the sidewalk and the street. The challenge with that is this is an older neighborhood. The houses are close to the street. If you move the sidewalk away from the street, we take up too much of their front lawn. So the solution was to do what's called an extended shoulder. So the mail truck can actually pull up onto it and deliver mail, but we'll make it no parking so that people can't park on it, and it will be available for use for walking and pedestrians and cyclists, especially kids. Knowing some people who live in the area, I hear it's already being pretty well used. The no parking signs are already up because, as I mentioned, we actually passed that at the last meeting. We like to put it in the town code so that if there are violators, the Monroe County Sheriffs like to be able to quote a section of code specific to that road. So that's why we put it in there. So any questions, comments?
Alan Aaron Lesnick from Nevins Road. Just a couple clarifying questions. How will this impact the residents' use of their driveway?
Doesn't impact it at all.
So the map on the notice that we received in the mail, it looks like the no parking zone does extend to the driveway. Is that true or?
That you're allowed to park in your driveway. You can't block the end of you can't block the sidewalk.
Okay.
It also, I'll note that it does not extend into the knuckles. If for those not familiar with Nevins Road, it has these strange kind of bump outs that look like somebody who has arthritic knuckles. No better way to
What you
describe
call them before, thank you.
it. Yeah.
So like if I bumper or hitch is blocking the sidewalk, that's constituting as parking on the sidewalk or?
Like how rigid it's gonna be, I think we're trying to figure out. Like we don't have that many cars, but our neighbors have a lot of cars, so it could at some point potentially be a problem.
Right. So I mean, if it's basically whether they're blocking the sidewalk, right? If it's making that people can't use the sidewalk because of their blocking, they're gonna get a ticket.
Okay, so that was our other
That's
question.
actually irrespective of a no parking zone. That's rules with regards to sidewalks. You're not allowed to block sidewalks.
And then lastly, will this be communicated to delivery companies? I've noticed recently that drivers have been pulling into driveways because they see the signage and they're a little confused.
Yeah, it's been a problem. Like we've had Amazon, FedEx, UPS pull all the way into our driveway at the last like probably 3 or 4 weeks.
They do that on my street too.
We've never had a
They
problem.
just
with it
pull in.
before.
Right.
So what have they
They're
done
not
in the past?
confused.
What have they done in the past
They
before?
always just pull on the side of the road.
Okay.
But now that the
Yeah, but
sidewalk's
now
there,
the
they're pulling
sidewalk's
out
there, they
the
don't have to
sidewalk.
do
So,
anything.
right, but so they were pulling over onto the grass?
Yeah, almost to the grass. Like, well, before the, it would have been the shoulder, I guess.
Well,
like,
there wasn't a
where the
shoulder on
gutter
that road
was,
though.
up
So
the
they were
gutter.
blocking one of the lanes of travel.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
So now, but now they're dangerously close to the vehicles in our driveway with these giant trucks.
So what they should be doing is they can still do that on the other side of the road.
Okay.
It's only the western side of the road. So
Would we be better luck reaching out to the company about that? Because they don't get that.
yeah, so the problem that comes in with some of these folks is some of them use professional drivers. Some of them use gig work drivers, essentially similar to like an Uber. They tend to be harder to communicate with that
Amazon,
with, but
probably.
we'll try to send something out to Amazon, UPS, FedEx, like I said, mail trucks aren't parking, so they actually can pull on there, but.
Well, in the mail, they're there for like 5 seconds and it's not. a big
Yeah.
deal. The question I have is not necessarily related to the parking. So we had obviously our first big snowfall the other week. And you guys were right there plowing the sidewalk. However, it also took out our mailbox. So our mailbox is like destroyed all the way down the side and we're gonna have to replace it.
Contact the
Yeah.
DPW,
Okay.
359-7005. They can assist you with that.
Okay, all right, because there's no, like, not, I mean, you'd think you'd see a mailbox, but there's no like of the reflectors or anything along the side,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, again, if we take out a mailbox, we will contribute. We'll either replace it with one of our standard ones, or we will contribute to, if you want to do a fancier one, we'll
Now,
contribute some of
it
our.
honestly originally kind of half got broken when they pulled it out to do the work. They broke
Gotcha.
the top off and we were like, oh, whatever, we'll fix it, but now the whole thing's broken, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes they hit the mailbox, sometimes if it's heavy snow, which this wasn't the case, but sometimes just the weight of the snow can break
I suspect it was
mailboxes.
probably dark when they were
Yeah.
doing it also. And
Yeah,
there's not many lights around
it's a
there.
new route
Yeah,
where the route's not new, but putting the wing down is new, so we apologize. It's probably
We'll
gonna
give 'em a
take a
call.
little bit of training, but yeah, like I said, give us a call and again, either we'll replace it with one of our standard ones or you can apply and instead we cut you a check for
as long as the mail
essentially
comes, that's
equal
all
to
we
what
care
those
about.
cost, so.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My neighbor got his mailbox taken out by FedEx.
Did he?
I think you're gonna find with the delivery, the Amazon and FedEx, UPS, they won't allow their drivers to walk across the road. They actually open their doors on the side. They don't want them going across the road. That's the issue, is their liability insurance.
I found
Which
in
is
my
interesting 'cause they-
driveway.
So it's safer for them if they pull in the driveway than park on the other side and walk across or lose their job.
Right.
They should never park in anyone's driveway. Those trucks are way too big.
It depends on the size of the van, but
That's true.
in general, I agree with you.
Mhm.
But different between no parking and no stopping and no standing, so you can.
Right.
Sometimes pull up and unload packages.
Right. Yeah, what we can explain to them is if they want to pull up and stop, again, not park, but stop and deliver, just don't pull onto the sidewalk. Just park like they used to, because they weren't driving onto the grass. We'll see if we can get that word out to them. Yeah, it's like I said, it's unfortunate that our entire town is rural mailbox delivery because that just makes it so tough to put in sidewalks. But with, at the public hearing for the development that's going in on the south end of the street, that was one of the comments is the folks who were here from Nevins Road all were like, well, we don't have a sidewalk. Can you put in a sidewalk? So we said, sure. The problem is we can't. Nobody wanted to give up that much front lawn. So we had to put it tight to the curb, which means it had to be an extended shoulder. It's tough. It's tough to retrofit in some neighborhoods. All right. Any other comments? And hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for the proposed local law to amend Henrietta Town Code at Chapter 273. Can I get my fourth resolution? Guess that's you, Rob.
Yeah, that's me. Let me find it. Right there, yeah. Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 24-362, 2024. Whereas members of the Rush Henrietta Theater Reunion Group agreed to raise funds for the purchase of trees to be planted in honor of the former RH educators as part of the reunion, and whereas the member of the group, Howard Russell, approached the town asking for trees, if trees could be planted in a designated area of the town park, and whereas the town board agreed to designate and develop the Educators Grove within Hoskins Park in order to honor educators, and whereas the town purchased 2 trees for $548 and planted them in Educators Grove in honor of Robert Sagan, an English teacher and theater director for RH Central School District, and Paul Simicata, known as Mr. C, a choral and musical director with the RH Central School District. And whereas a check in the amount of $548 for the funds raised by the Theater Reunion Group was received by the town's Director of Finance. Therefore, be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks the RH Theater Reunion Group for their donation.
Seconded.
So I was present at the dedication. It was kind of also the groundbreaking for Educators Grove. One of those individuals was present. The other one unfortunately had passed on, and I think it was their daughter was present. So it was a really nice event, except for the weather. Didn't quite cooperate.
It was a rainy day.
But otherwise, it was a really nice event. Really great to honor the educators. They were very touched by the gesture from their former students. And it was fun hearing some of the old tales.
There were a lot of people there in the theater that were from theater and students and everything else. It was a great event.
Yep. Any other questions, comments? And hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 24-363, 2024. Whereas the Friends of Henrietta Parks and Recreation are dedicated to the support of parks projects and recreation programs through volunteerism and fundraising efforts. And whereas the Friends of Henrietta Parks and Recreation have designated as one of their missions the support of Henrietta Gymnastics and the gymnastics team. And whereas the board members of the Friends of Henrietta Parks and Recreation have voted to offset the cost of leotards for the team members by donating a portion of the cost in order to bring the price of the leotards down from $136 to $100 per team member to be paid by the participants. And whereas a check in the amount of $1,260 was received by the Director of Finance, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks the Friends of Henrietta Parks and Recreation for their support.
Second.
So interested enough, this organization, the Friends of Henrietta Parks and Recreation, actually came out of that previous event. Towns can't do fundraising, so they needed to form their own group. Well, it just so happened that there was folks at the parents involved in the gymnastics group who also wanted to do something. So we put the two groups together. They formed the not-for-profit organization. And what especially fortuitous was one of the parents and the gymnast happens to be an attorney who specializes in not-for-profit.
That's
Because
great.
if you've ever had to been involved with one and know the rigmaroles you have to do to get,
Plus $2,000.
yeah, to get that done, it's not easy. So it's great that they're present. And so it's very similar to, we have the Friends of the Henrietta Public Library. This one is for Parks and Recreation. So thank you to all those involved and who, put forth the time to get this set up,
Yeah, that is great. Leotards seem to be very expensive.
apparently. I never did gymnastics, so I wouldn't know. Any further comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow town board members, I have resolution number 24-364, 2024. Whereas in response to a published notice of an opportunity for a local business willing to purchase windscreens for the town's new pickleball courts at Veterans Memorial Park, with that company's choice of advertising on them, only Patty Bean of Bean Cruises and Travel responded with a willingness to do so. And whereas Patty Bean asked several of her travel industry partners companies to co-sponsor along with her, and Sandals at Royal Caribbean and AMA Waterways all agreed to co-sponsor. And whereas the town received quotes from multiple vendors to print with the lowest qualifying quote received from Valley Athletics for $7,557.29. And whereas a check was received from Patty Bean in the amount of $7,557.29 to cover the cost of the windscreens. And whereas the town supervisor approved the purchase of the attached windscreens from the Valley Athletics for an amount not to exceed $7,557.29. Therefore, be it resolved that the town thanks Bean Cruises and Travel, as well as Sandals, Royal Caribbean, and Emma Waterways for their willingness to purchase the windscreens for the town's pickleball courts in order to improve playability when winds are present.
Second, how much was it for? Yeah, so when we first put the new courts in, that was one of the first requests from the pickleball players. We didn't have the money, so we just mentioned in the town newsletter that this was an opportunity, and then we basically waited, I think it was 2 or 3 months, and the only one who'd come forward was Patty Bean, and she did a lot of work to get the other partners involved so that they could afford to put up the windscreen. So it'll be a nice addition. When we did put the fencing in, we specifically put in larger diameter fence posts as well as the cross posts so that it would support the windscreens, but we were tight on our budget, so we didn't have the money to put in the windscreen. So this, we thought, oh, what a great solution. Someone can put up advertising to cover it. So
Yeah, with a little history, myself in racket sports and having them outdoors in our particular climate, the smaller footprint nature of the facility itself, there's going to be a significant improvement in the playability when the windscreens are up.
great. Yeah, because so basically they're immediately adjacent to the pickleball courts, and then the next thing over is the tennis courts, where some individual up on this board taught tennis. Or it still does, for all I know. My son's doesn't go to school there anymore.
Do we have an idea how long these screens last? And do we take them down in the winter or anything?
We weren't planning to take them down in the winter. We'll have to see. But they'd last a good amount of time. I don't know if Pam's on, she might know better the exact amount, but basically because they're up against the fence, they actually should do pretty well. But I mean, there's no question over time, the material will degrade from the UV. But, you know, basically until they go in, from my recollection of it, they are being, I'll call it professionally installed. So I don't think our plan was to take them down in the winter. The other thing I'll note, like when I came out of the office yesterday, there were people out there playing.
Yeah.
Because it was 40, 50 degrees and hearing the basketball bounce, and there were some folks out there hitting the ball too. So
I was just curious.
Yeah, and to Councilmember Stafford's question, if they're being professionally installed, my experience has been that the real difference maker is the quality of the actual attachment, not the screen itself. Because the attachments will wear out a lot sooner. And then, of course, you get the separation from the fence. It'll start to degrade the nature of the screen itself.
Thank you.
any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
All right. Fellow board members, I have resolution 24-365, 2024 to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 24-366, 2024 to authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for November 15th, 2024 2024 through today, December 11th, 2024.
Seconded.
I'll note that, December tends to be a bill-heavy month, especially for whatever reason, the folks who supply books to the library can't put multiple books on one invoice. They have to send separate invoices for every single one.
And I think,
I saw our, finance person today, the stack, just from today was this tall. So,
wow. So, and I just also like to note part of the, part of those bills, the a little over $100,000 was for the sidewalks at Marketplace Drive extension there.
any other questions, comments?
I didn't do the bills for this month, but I'd like to say thank you to the clerks that put that together. It's always well organized. There's never a page out of line in it, and it makes the job really easy. So thanks to Jennifer Black and whoever else pushed that together, because it's great.
Yeah,
makes my job
Mike had just commented
very
that
easy.
to me earlier today.
2 hours ago, just
Yeah.
commented
Really?
to Steve.
Yeah.
I meant to
said
say
the
it
exact
last,
same
the
thing.
month when I did it, and I forgot.
Right.
But just thinking about how organized it is,
Do it.
it makes the job really easy, because it's a lot of work.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yes, it was very, it was very well organized, just a lot of them.
Yeah.
So. Any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 24-367, 2024, to call for a public hearing for proposed local law to update the Henrietta Town Code to regulate pre-existing non-conforming uses with regards to proposed changes in the building or site plans.
Seconded.
So the code already contains some stuff with regards to non-conforming uses, but only with specifics regarding gas stations, vehicle service stations, things like that. So we're looking in the law to expand it to other uses. This is just the call for the public hearing. So the discussion will be at the next meeting in January. But just letting people understand what we're looking to put in there. It's the procedure by which, so a pre-existing non-conforming use it means it was a legal use at the time the area was rezoned. And because of the rezone, it's no longer an allowed use. So it's referred to as pre-existing non-conforming. And they have rights within the rules, but it's pretty narrow. And so this just expands a little bit and provides the procedures by which they can do those additional rights in terms of upgrades. Because you don't want a business to be stagnant and not improved for, 40 years, right? But you also don't want, if it's a use you're trying to get out of that area for whatever reason, you also, that's typically why they don't allow modifications or improvements to non-conforming uses. So the idea is, by doing it at a public hearing, we can look at that with a special use permit. We can look at it as to, does it still make sense to keep it up to date? Because sometimes the rezone changes because you just don't want new additional ones in the zone. There's a lot of reasons why stuff's rezoned, but anyway, that's it. Any questions or comments? Like I said, most of this discussion will take place at the next meeting.
This will fall on that business along East Henrietta Road we spoke about last workshops ago. Tally Ho will fall under this, correct?
Any existing business.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 28-368, 2024, to accept the dedication of roadways for Southern View Estates subdivision, section 2.
Second.
For those unfamiliar with Southern View Estates, it's off of Rush Henrietta Town Line Road. Due south from the southern end of Martin Road Park, but you can't get there from Martin Road Park. You have to get there from the Town Line Road. Well, I guess you could walk there from the park. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 24-369, 2024, to accept the deficient dedication of roadways for the fairways at Riverton subdivision, sections 1A and 1B.
Second. So the deficient dedication just means it's not fully up to town standards yet. The reason we do this is this is a new road in a subdivision. There are residents already living there. It is safer for residents for this is going to be a public road for the town highway crews to be plowing that road from an emergency vehicle standpoint. There was a ruling by the comptroller that until it's a public road, we can't plow it. So this was a solution we worked out with the developers. They put up the money to cover the final improvements. We accept dedication, and either they make the improvements on the public road or we use the funds in either the letter of credit, or sometimes they'll actually put up a cash or bond that we would use that money to do the improvements if they don't. But it's so far it's worked out well. And again, it's safer for our residents to have town crews plowing the roads during salting and plowing during the winter. So the reason we don't have them top it now is you want that road to settle for at least one winter before you put the top coat on. Because that way, if you get any unevenness, usually if you're gonna get any kind of settling, it's due to, laterals going under the road, utilities going under the road. If it settles first, now when you put your top coat on, it'll be flat. If you put the top coat on before that settles over the winter, now you're gonna have an uneven road. So that's why we do it. Any questions, comments?
Sir.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 24-370, 2024 to accept the deficient roadway dedication for Fairwood Drive and Rivers Run. Second. So this one's a slightly different than the last one. It's similar, except that in this case, it's an existing private road that they wish to take public. So what we did is we went through and analyzed what it would cost to bring that road up to public road standards. There are 3 property owners through which this road currently goes. It's actually 2 roads. Rivers Run is a loop for the Rivers Run senior community development. And then Fairwood Drive is the road that goes to it. The Hill apartment complex is on that, as well as Greenwood Cove. And so we basically just measured the linear foot of roadways through the 3 properties, and the cost will be split evenly. The cost of the repairs were about 149,000, and then we added another about 4,500 to cover other costs such as surveying, because to do this, you have to separate out the public road. And so again, rather than have 3 different surveyors do each of their portions and run the risk that they don't line up, we said it makes more sense for the town to hire the surveyor and them to pay the town. So these 3 businesses will be putting that money up, and we'll take the dedication now, plow it over the winter, and we'll do the road work in the spring and bring it up to full standard, so.
Very good.
There's been a couple others that have asked us to do something similar. The roads can't always be brought up to standard. In fact, in this area, there is one other section of road that curves around behind Greenwood Cove. Because it has parking spaces directly off the road, it can't be brought up to those standards unless they were willing to give up those parking spaces, which they're not. So that portion will remain a private road.
Okay.
But the main entrance in and the loop around the Rivers Run, that will become public roads, so. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 24-371, 2024 to accept a letter of credit from for Fairways and Riverton subdivision, section 2.
Seconded.
So the way this process works, when construction starts, they're tearing the whole stuff up. They have to have a letter of credit so that if they stop partway through, the town's able to finish it. It's especially important once some residents start to go in and houses start to be sold. So the director of engineering works on the determination of that amount, and that amount has to be approved by the town board.
Okay.
In this case, it's about $1.4 million. So.
Wow.
Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Blanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 24-372, 2024 to update the 2025 building and fire prevention fee schedule to add property maintenance charges.
Seconded.
So I'll note, we fixed on made the addition on the agenda, but forgot to update the summary. We also added recreation fee schedule update. We wanted to get Good Shepherd Hall on there. It's not quite ready for rent yet.
Right.
But it's getting close. And so for those unfamiliar, Good Shepherd Hall is the former Good Shepherd Church. And it will be rentable like a cabin, although because it's significantly larger, it's going to be essentially about twice the rate for a cabin. We did put a significant difference between resident fee and non-resident fee, partly because we expect this to be popular and we want to try to reserve it as much as possible for residents. But it's essentially, if you look, if you take the other cabins, it's double. Yeah, it's still very affordable.
Yep.
So it'll be a great, for things like, significant milestone birthday parties, graduation parties, bar mitzvahs, weddings, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Very good.
and for those unfamiliar with the Good Shepherd Hall, to begin with, it basically the school purchased the old Good Shepherd property when the Catholic Church sold it. That building is historic, but it's not usable by the school. The building standards for the schools are much stricter than building standards for a town facility. Even so, we had to do a whole lot of improvements to make it ADA accessible, with a ramp, with ADA accessible bathrooms, adding bathrooms, a whole lot of work. Town crews have done a phenomenal job. And then the last thing I'll mention is inside that facility is, so we turned the altar into a stage, and that's also our Performing Arts Center, which this past fall, we dedicated in honor of Betty Miller, who was a longtime proponent, director, and promoter of community theater. So we look forward to this being available for rent. Any other questions, comments? I'll just note for the building change, it was that we used to have one fee for a use variance. Commercial use variances are more intensive than residential, so we differentiated the price.
Steve, did they put a kitchen in there? I haven't been in there since.
That's what they're working on right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, to the left of the stage is the kitchen. To the right of the stage will be an additional bathroom, which will also serve as a changing area if they're doing a stage production.
Thanks.
So. Any other questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Thank you Supervisor Schultz. I'm just, I don't know whether need to specific, and you already talked about it, but I'm just gonna say again, for the record, that this resolution is to update the 2025 Building and Fire Prevention fee schedule and the Parks and Recreation Department fee schedule. I neglected to update that summary, as you said, on the top there. So I just wanted to specifically say that for the record, so I can sleep easier tonight. I am going to call the roll now. Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Thanks for that addition, Beck.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 24-373, 2024, to adopt the 2025 board schedules.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
Becky, could you ask Jenny to send me an email with the schedules? I've misplaced the one that was handed out at workshop. Would you, all the board members, like a copy on their email?
Sure, I wasn't at workshop.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Do you want me to bring you a paper copy after the meeting as well?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't want a paper copy.
Duly noted.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution number 24-374, 2024, to make appropriate budget transfers and adjustments to the 2024 adopted budget.
Second. Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 24-375, 2024, to hire personnel and make the attached changes.
I'll be seconding this, but more than likely voting against it until we have some discussion. Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, yes. I've had a contact, or a lot of people from the Parks and Rec Department contacted me, several. Understand that 6 people applied for the buildings ground labor foreman job. That are current employees, actually 7, one withdrew their name from what I was told. Believe they're all qualified. I think between the 6 of them, they have over 93 years of experience between them. Some worked here 10, 20, and 30 years. They were told they didn't qualify, that civil service didn't qualify them. I spoke to civil service today. The civil service said they don't receive the applications from everybody, just the one that the town sends them. So I don't even know how civil service said the civil service weren't qualified.
Because the civil service has specifications that they require 2 years' experience as an MEO or working foreman, which they don't have.
According to these people, I wasn't there for the conversations. They were told that to apply for it, that they qualified for it. One supposedly.
Nobody is ever told to apply. And somebody says, if you're interested, they are told, then apply.
One supposedly was told that if the person being hired, didn't work out, they would look at that person. So meaning that person must have been qualified. I
I
as
have no
everybody-
idea what you're talking
Right.
about, Mike.
I
No
know
one,
you-
no one
you-
that I know of has ever said
Right,
that.
you weren't, I was told that, I wasn't there for the conversation. I wasn't there for the conversation. We don't know if it happened or didn't happen.
So you're bringing up hearsay at this meeting is what
So,
you're saying. You're
I'm telling you what I
you're
was
putting
told.
hearsay on the record.
Okay,
I'm just going to note for
No,
the
I-
record that this is hearsay.
I'll note for the record, this is what I was told. This is what I was told. I'm not saying what was said at the conversation.
Hearsay means you heard it and you're now saying it.
I
That is
was,
hearsay.
I was told.
You were not part of the conversation with what you're relating.
Okay. I was
Correct?
told.
Did you?
I was,
did
no,
you-
I was not part of that
You
conversation.
did not witness the person being told that.
There's a lot of things that we're told at this meeting that's not,
Okay.
that's conversations that doesn't happen in front of us. So, I'm a firm believer in moving up from within. Several
We
years-
have done a ton
know.
of promotions from within.
I know.
So
I do.
don't,
Yes, I know
bring
that.
that
Because I was, when I
allegation.
sat on it, when I sat in on some of the interviews for a couple of the departments, I fought for that probably 4 years ago, that we hire somebody from within, not from somebody from the outside. So,
That's been the policy here for a long time. The problem is that what you run into in the supervisory role with foreman is that it's not just, are they qualified from there's a lot of individuals who might be qualified from a skill set standpoint, that they are able to do the tasks in that department, but are not necessarily qualified from a leadership standpoint. In fact, one of the applicants was recently demoted from a labor foreman because of repeated incidents with regards to their performance as a labor foreman.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
There's more than just, do they know how to do some of the tasks? There are a lot of soft skills involved with foremen, and we have had numerous problems in this town with foremen who were promoted just because they've been here for a long time.
well, when we hire someone from the outside, we have no clue what
That's
kind.
Not necessarily true.
In
but-
my, if we haven't worked with them before. So, I don't know I believe some of these employees were also contacted some of the other board members. I don't know if they want to add anything in, but that's what I have.
I wasn't privy to our workshop because I wasn't there. I had an event in the family I had to be at. But I did get a call from an employee that was kind of disappointed that they weren't seriously considered for the job. They said they all interviewed. I was kind of surprised we didn't hire from within because that's what we've been doing. This person had 20-some years. I know 2 of the people that applied. So I just wanted
Right,
to know
so
why we
I will
didn't hire.
note that we initially tried to do an internal hire. The
Mhm.
person most qualified for the job, internal hire, did not wish to take the job. That individual had moved to another department and is happy at that other department and did not want to come back to this department to run the department.
Okay.
And so that we did seriously look at all candidates who meet the qualifications for the job. The idea that we didn't seriously look, that is not true at all. That is a unfair characterization of what happened. Again, the decisions are never easy. And again, especially when it comes to the foreman position, morale and teamwork and all that stuff comes into play. And when you don't have someone good in the foreman position, it creates all kinds of problems. And this board, and I don't want to go into it because a lot of it's individual personal stuff and should be discussed not here in a public setting, but in an executive session. We all know that we've had lots of problems in the DPW and in this department specifically. And there have been numerous incidents, including a number of issues raised with, again, some serious allegations with regards to at least one or more of the applicants. It does not, I get it. They've been here a long time, some of them. If they're not qualified, they're not qualified. I don't really want to say anything more than that because again, it's not the appropriate forum for the deeper discussion than that. Any other questions, comments?
With that being said, should we separate these positions out or?
I have no interest. Why don't we first see if the whole thing will pass? If the whole thing doesn't pass, then we can look at separating it out.
I mean, that sounds a good idea.
Okay,
I just wanted to know I'm not voting against everybody in there.
understood. Okay, so any further questions, comments? So we will be voting for right now for the entire slate of personnel changes. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
I have one question. Now, this person has been hired for that position, right? Have they started?
Yes.
Okay. I don't really think the rail's gonna be good from what I've heard from these employees anyway. Under these circumstances, hopefully it all works out. I wish that I had more information about how this came about. It just seems like if we got, 4 or 5 people that have worked there that long and they can't do this job, and they know the job, that we got more of an issue than we think we got. That being said,
No. I'm sorry. Didn't call my name.
okay.
I'm sorry.
Councilmember Stafford, I already heard your vote, but thank you.
Can I speak? Mike Catalano, Commissioner of Public Works.
I prefer not right now, Mike.
Okay, no problem.
Steve hasn't voted yet.
I know.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. If you want to, we can hold an executive session after to have further discussion. We can adjourn to executive session. Okay, because Rob wasn't there at workshop. We did have an executive session at workshop, but all right. So since it did pass, there's no need to separate out a name. Right? Last resolution.
Oh, sorry. Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 24-376, 2024, to adopt local law number 11 of 2024 to add a no parking zone on Nevins Road and to clarify 2 of the no parking zones defined in section 273-6.
Second.
So obviously we had a lot of discussion during the public hearing. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Page,
Aye.
Councilmember Belanca,
Aye.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. That concludes our resolutions. Do we have any Miscellaneous reports or committee reports from the board.
Anything, John?
Yeah, I got the opportunity to attend the library board meeting, in December. We had a little bit more, of a celebration for Ellen and her retirement. Very, very nice. And we got a chance to hear also from the different, committees on the library board. It's been an incredibly busy year there, at the library, and I think we should be very proud of the work that they do.
I had the opportunity to attend the cyclical assessment meeting to represent the board with Steve in the town of Rush. As I mentioned the other day, the tree lighting at our recreation center by the staff was just incredible. It was just awesome. And the guy who led it did a pretty good job. I gotta give him credit.
Santa?
Huh?
You mean Santa? I'm kidding. Keep going.
And I also attended the neighborhood meeting for the Delphi situation, so. School board's coming up next week.
Yeah, I'll just note for the Delphi, there were a couple residents who asked why they weren't included in that. We wanted to have the historic properties that are immediately adjacent, have an initial meeting with them. The next step is the full normal, neighborhood meeting. But the larger the group, the less likely any individual participant is going to speak. So because of the potential impact on those historic properties, we wanted to have those folks there with a not quite one-on-one chance, but a much smaller group so that they could provide their feedback to the applicant. And then, as I mentioned, the next step will be a full neighborhood meeting with all the houses within the radius. So you haven't been excluded. It was just, like I said, we were trying to focus on just the small number of historic properties immediately adjacent. So just want to let that know, because like I said, I know there's some people out there who didn't understand what they thought that was going to be our only neighborhood meeting, and that's not the case.
Thanks for adding that, Steve, because I had a resident that was disappointed that quite it, so. And I tried to explain to him also that there's plenty more coming.
Yep.
So.
I had the pleasure of meeting again with the Tinker Park team, our historian, Tim, Emily, and the other folks for the accession of items. And we've started that again, and it's going well.
Okay, I just had my monthly zoning board meeting. Actually, it was a small schedule. That Cooper Vision just keep, seems like every few years they add on. I think this was a 200,000 foot addition they put on. They looked for another entrance exit. Because the town code only allowed 3, they were allowed 4 because of the size of the building. So it's huge. So, and then, as you probably know, last night was the fire district vote for 2 more commissioners. One commissioner was taking over, his term expired. He ran again and won. The other commissioner took over for someone who resigned. And then the big part was the bond proposition that passed. We'll say again, I'm not sure if anybody saw the email, but 60 people voted. We have, I think it's 24,000 registered voters in Henrietta. And I don't know how many registered voters in West Brighton that could have voted, and 60 people showed up for this. And
yeah, unfortunately, the notification is not the greatest.
well, I don't know, they put out signs, they put it on their boards. They don't, the town doesn't much ever.
No,
The town actually doesn't advertise for our elections either.
Well, we do. It's through the Board of Elections. That's one of the issues I have. I don't understand why in New York State, any taxing authority, I don't understand why their elections aren't held by the Board of Elections.
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me. They have as much ability to affect your taxes even more than we do when you look at the dollar amount, because their rate is significantly higher than ours.
Got that right.
And you have the winning, the person won with 47 votes. That's pretty sad.
Right. and the bond passed with 51. The bond actually was for, to be ordered, to order a couple new, fire trucks. From what I understand, the company won't take the order unless you have the money to pay for it. Imagine that.
Right, bond, huh?
So they bond it, but with hopes that they'll have more of it, you know, a good portion of it to pay for the trucks in 4 years. It takes 4 and 5 years to get these trucks now, these fire trucks, so.
Yeah, I went by the vote last night. I was surprised. There was no one there. A little better facility to vote in, and I got to sit down and write before it changed instead of standing up and putting it in the box. That was better. But just surprised. It's a lot of money with $3 million for a bond for 2 trucks and 60 people. It's great.
Well, like I said, I suspect most residents weren't aware that.
Yeah, it's not very well advertised. It really isn't.
Right, but when we run for office, they get plenty of advertisements through the mail and the signs on
Right,
their front
exactly,
yard and
yeah.
everything else, so
Yeah.
they know all about it. I do have a question I asked, and I think I've asked it before. Who actually decides, I had a neighbor ask me, who actually decides when an existing road in town will be paved?
The superintendent of highways. So it comes up to a discussion at our engineering meetings, but ultimately the decision rests solely on the shoulders of the superintendent of highways. Now, I'll note that's for a town road. County road, it's their director of transportation, I think is what his title is. And for state road, it's the director of region for New York State DOT.
Well, for the town, that's what I thought. I thought it was, I just wanted to double check and make sure I gave the right information.
Any other?
So for our 3 students in the back, are you here because of a class? Okay.
Down, yeah.
Do you need a signature or a copy of the agenda or anything to show your troop leader or? Okay, we'll be happy to give you that when we're done. We'll be a minute.
Yep. Do we have any additional discussion items or comments from the public? Anyone wish to speak? Seeing none, so as we talked about, I will make a motion in a moment that we'll adjourn to executive session. We will not be returning to open session, so we will just adjourn straight from there. So when we adjourn to executive session, we'll be ending the public session. Any further comments? And I'm going to make a motion. We adjourn to executive session to discuss the employment of a specific individual.
Second.
Hearing and seeing no objections, meeting adjourned to executive session.